Hey guys, alright, so we're actually making a whole lot of progress on Angelina, but before I get to showing you that, 3 weeks ago I made a promise to show you guys how to make some soap. So this week we're going to show that video, and then next week we'll get back to boat work and we'll show you what we've been up to. Hey guys, how are you? Okay, so I've noticed on our website that we have a lot of people, a lot of visitors, and the 3 major countries that continue to visit our website are Haiti, the Philippines, and Jamaica. Now I'm pretty sure you guys are probably visiting our website for the same reason that we made the website, is because maybe you guys are getting tired of seeing plastic in the ocean. And so to help with that, I decided to put together a video. Now it doesn't really make sense for you guys to go through and order our soap, because then it costs so much to ship it there that really the greenhouse gases kind of outweighs the benefits, right? So I decided, well, you know what? For those countries that it's harder to ship to, why don't I make it a little easier for you guys? So I went to the store specifically for you guys. Now, as we're getting ready to move on to a sailboat, we realize how precious fresh water is. And if you're living right next to the beach, you don't always have a freshwater river for your ingredients. So what we're doing is showing you how we make, or actually a very simplified recipe of how we make what we call our surf and suds recipes, okay? This one is our original unscented. This one is our unscented laundry bar. This one is our Hoheli. This is our Key Lime Bay. Now, you don't have to do all these scents. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys kind of a universal bar that you guys can make, so that you can use it for body wash, you can wash your clothes, and even better, you can wash right in the surf. And each one of these bars is worth 1 bottle of body wash or shampoo. Because that's what we see every time we go to the ocean, every time we go to the National Padre Island National Seashore, is it's either drinking water bottles, which we have a video on one of our sites about how to minimize in plastic, basically install a filter, because if you install a filter, it's expensive right up front, but in the long run, it'll save you a whole lot of money. So drinking water is water bottles is what we see like washed up. That's the number one. And the other thing, body wash and shampoo bottles. I mean, they're all over the place, and yeah, you see. So those are what we keep seeing come up. So I figured, let me help you guys get rid of the need for that. And this will actually save you money, because it doesn't cost that much to make. Now, I will be upfront with you. Buying one of these, I have the link on our down below if you're watching through one of our blog posts. Buying one of these will be expensive. But the recipe we're going to be doing today is going to be called what's called a cold process recipe, which means you don't even need a crock pot to do it. Okay, so simplifying it as much as I can possibly do it. Even the ingredients, I went to the store specifically to get these cheap ingredients. Number one thing you need for soap that will lather in salt water is coconut oil. You need to have that, okay? The other one is, this is vegetable oil. It says vegetable oil, but if you look at the ingredients, it's actually soybean oil. This is very important. You need the soybean oil as well. Typically, it's going to be soybean oil anyway. And then the other ingredient you need, of the 2 ingredients, you need table sugar, and then you need to go to your hardware store to pick up, it needs to be crystal lye. And then somewhere on there, it'll say 100% lye, 99% lye. 99% is good enough. But it needs to say on the ingredients, sodium hydroxide. Okay? It cannot be you can make it out of potassium hydroxide, but it's not going to be so great for the reef. So make sure it says sodium hydroxide, because if you do it with a potassium hydroxide, you're going to have a plastic bottle to carry it anyway, because that only makes liquid soap. So you need those ingredients. Then to put this together, you need to go get a little bit of seawater. And it's actually really good to use straight seawater, and I'll tell you why. The reason is the amount of salt in here will help your bars dry sooner. Now, it's not going to hurt your skin because we're going to do something special to the soap here. Okay? And part of that's something that we're going to do. We're going to start now. Okay, so I do everything in grams because I realize us US people, we're the only goobers on the earth that use imperial system. So what I'm doing is everything in grams. Actually, it's how I've measured for years because it's just so easy to across the board to go through and change things out. So you need, let me get my ingredients list. You're going to need 284 grams of seawater, okay? 284 grams of seawater and just 10 grams of simple table sugar, okay? All right, mix that in. Adjust the camera there. You got it? All right. So by using seawater, you're actually what's making what's called in German Zolleseife, which is seawater or brine water soap. All right. So all you're doing is mixing that sugar in. You can tell in there. You're just mixing that sugar in so that it dissolves completely. This is very important because we want to make sure that your skin doesn't dry out. All right. Now, you want to make sure to measure out coconut oil, about 600 grams of it, okay? And then you're going to do soybean oil, about 300 grams of it. I'll have the exact specifications of how much you need to measure out listed below. I do ask that you kind of give like some donation on it because, well, it's going to take a little while for us to put this video together. But also, just let me know how you guys feel about it. I can tweak the ingredients. I can help you guys out whatever way, but this is just to kind of get you guys started. And so I'll put the PDF below of the exact ingredients because it is very important that even if you get these slightly wrong, the amount of lye needs to be spot on. So make sure the other thing that you buy is a high quality kitchen scale, okay? Now, we're gonna go ahead and measure out the lye, but before we do, something we have to do. Safety first, second, and third, okay? And I'm not kidding, guys, if you get this in your eye, this reacts with water, and it can result in permanent blindness. So you do not want this in your eyes. As a matter of fact, when we get ready to mix it with the water, make sure you are in a well-ventilated area because you don't want to breathe these fumes. This is the only part that I get kind of hesitant about. It kind of gets a little hairy, but it's really not that bad once you get started. So, safety first. Let's get on safety goggles. And an apron. And this is just because if you happen to spill, you can quickly throw off an apron and nobody thinks that you're getting indecent or anything because, you know, as far as me, who wants to see a fat man running around with lye on his shirt? All right, so got a tie behind me here. We're gonna want a little spoon here. And let me explain something else too. You guys can go to the hardware store to get these little paint buckets, okay? The most important thing is, whenever you use these paint buckets, make sure that on the bottom, let me see if I can, does it show up on the camera? It has to be number 5, and there's a good reason for that. As soon as this lye contacts the water, and it contacts the soap, it's going to get really hot. And I've used glass, I've used metal. This is what holds up. If you use aluminum, aluminum will produce a toxic gas that you don't want to breathe. So make sure that you're using number 5 plastic. I know we're plastic free C, and I know this came in a plastic bottle and this came in a plastic bottle, but this right here is going to save at least 24 plastic bottles from entering the ocean. Okay, so let's get started with measuring out some lye. Gloves as well, because that stuff hurts. That is 121 grams, okay? And we're gonna put that away to the side. Now before you get all undressed away from your lye, let me show you how this is going to mix up. All right, you already mixed in your sugar. So, turn the fan. Alright guys, now let this rest. Again, make sure it's in a well-ventilated area. Okay? While that's resting, you want to go ahead and measure out your coconut oil and your vegetable oil. Now what you're going to do is you're going to wait till that gets back to room temperature, because I guarantee you right now it's probably hit about 200 degrees. So while we wait, we're going to go fix up some other things. We're getting ready to move on to a 40-foot monohull, and because of that, there are actually several soaps I need to go ahead and make so I can get on the drying rack. So that while we're fixing up the boat, I'll still have some soap to turn around and sell. And then I have to fix up the galley in the boat so that we can continue to make soap even while we're on the boat. And yes, we're adding ventilation. So our lye water has cooled down. I'm still wearing gloves because this still will burn if you get your hands in it. Now, the reason I told you guys that we need to get one of these is because otherwise you'll be mixing forever by hand. And then while we were waiting for this to cool, a question came up, or thought about something. Just to let you guys know, I don't buy coconut oil in small jars to conserve in plastic. I buy it about 35 pounds at a time. So we don't have that much plastic in our household. Instead, what we do is we actually reuse stuff. These are our molds for making soap. Unless we're doing something super fancy, then we do it in a different mold. But those are typically our molds, because once we're done with those, we rip them and shred them apart just so we can get the soap out. So we're very conservative about everything we do. But that was just to let you guys know. Now, let's go ahead and get on with this. Okay, so again, it's about 600 grams, about 300 grams. The most important thing if you're trying to do something that lathers in salt water is it needs to be almost a 2-to-1 ratio or greater. So it needs to be at least 2 times more coconut oil than your vegetable oil. You don't have to use vegetable oil. That was just the cheapest I could find for you guys. If it's another oil, you will have to change your lye ratio because each oil has a different saponification value. So let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to do is smash this up a little bit. This part doesn't need the glaze, but I'm getting ready to add that in. We're going to add our soy oil. Now I actually scented this one. You guys don't have to. The only reason I'm doing it is because I'm going to give it away to the sailors at the marina. And yeah, it's better to have a scent in it. Do that. As you can see, I'm doing much bigger batches behind me. Those are for our Hoheli soap. I measure out about 1,200 grams of that whenever I get ready to do those bars because I do much bigger batches. But again, still small enough to maintain and make sure that I'm doing good quality, you know. All right. Now you want to blend these really good. Show you guys what that looks like. Now this is just straight coconut oil and soy oil. Now we're going to add this in. There's going to be a difference in the consistency. We're going to work rather quickly because you're going to bring it to trace, and I'll show you what trace is for a little bit in a little bit. And then I was trying to look for something that was probably popular on the islands, so I found Humex, and we're going to use this as our soap mold. Okay, so let me set that aside. Let's go ahead and don't let it splash too much. Again, it's lye. You also don't want to waste any because you measured it out exactly, right? Get this over to the sink where it's safe. And then now what you're going to do is you're bringing it to a light trace, which is about the consistency of pudding. Trace is when you're able to take it out and start drawing in it. The drip's coming off and it stays on top. Alright, now it's getting thick enough. Coconut oil does not give you very much time to work with. It starts hardening up pretty quick, so you want to make sure to get in your mold as quick as possible. If it doesn't, well, you'll just have to cut it out of your bucket later on. It does even worse when you're trying to do certain scents that maybe they have a little bit of organic acids in them. Let that sit for 24 hours and then it'll actually be really easy to clean. And we have a little bit left over. That's fine. Now again, this is not safe to use until after about 24 hours, and then it'll have done its saponification. You can do it in a crock pot to speed it up. If you want crock pot instructions, I can give you those. Just contact me, send me a message, and I'll explain how to do that. But I was trying to simplify it, make it easy for you guys so you don't even have to use much electricity, because we're not going to do it on the boat. We're probably going to get rid of the crock pot idea. We'll see. Maybe I'll have enough power. All right. And there you go. You have, we'll probably get about 10 bars out of here. Another 2 bars out of there. So 12 bars, each one of these being about a bottle of shampoo, or each bar being about a bottle of shampoo. So we're going to set these off and we're going to let them saponify, and then I'll show you how to come tomorrow. Good morning, guys. Okay, so it's next day. All right, it's gone through the gel phase. As you can see, it's kind of expanded. That is normal. It actually heats up and cooks a little bit. So I'm just going to show you guys how we unbox it. Utility blade, pretty easy. Go. Nice block of soap. As I said, this you did with one batch. We're going to take this and cut it apart. I have a little guide for cutting, but you don't have to. You can go through and just cut it by hand. Our dog is curious, so he's coming in here to try to see what that scent is. Again, I went ahead and scented these just because I'm going to be giving them away. But there you go. Now, because we did this cold process, all the moisture has not been evaporated out of this. So make sure just put it on the rack somewhere where you can keep it cool and dry. And it's going to take about 2 or 3 weeks because of the salt. Actually, it'll dry out. Usually it takes like 4, sometimes 6 weeks. But the salt will actually help this dry out. And I would recommend waiting that time before using it, because otherwise this will just turn to mush. But we have one more to do. There you go. A nice little bar of soap. And in a few days, the soybean oil is actually a nice luxurious soap, but again, the reason I don't use it all the time is you are going to have a shorter shelf life. So make sure that you use this within 6 months, okay? Otherwise, what you'll get is, this is not dreaded orange spots, but you're gonna get things like this that start and then they spread. Again, that's just probably left over from the juice I was drinking in there. But you don't want the dreaded orange spots. You'll also be able to tell because it has a rancid smell to it. But if you use this within 6 months, you'll really like it. I mean, we just put the sugar in there. That's a humectant, and that'll add the moisturizing that you guys will need, especially if you're bathing in salt water. But it's good laundry soap, all around soap altogether. So guys, let me know if you like this video. If it was helpful, please like and subscribe. And again, the full recipe, and if you need any modifications, will be in a PDF on our blog post. It'll be just below the video. All right, have a good day. Okay, so again, like I said, it's been a lot of work. I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm really big on keeping promises and all that, so if I tell you guys I'm gonna teach you how to make soap, I'm gonna make sure to do that. But check in on us from time to time, or check on us next week. Next week we will show you how we're doing the painting, how that's coming around. I believe it's going to be a two-parter on the painting, and then hopefully we're going to get Angelina in the water. So keep up. Please like, subscribe, and what's the other?
Share.
Share.